everyone. You got your boy Dub Z.
40 Cal.
You're watching Dub Z TV. Also, before we get into the video, if you're new to the channel, like and subscribe to Dub Z TV. You get more power news and more entertainment and music and movie news as well. Also, check out the Icy Maker channel. I'm gonna link to the description of his video down below. Also, I'd like to say right off the top, rest in peace, Kobe Bryant.
Yeah,
to all that,
Kobe.
Yeah, to all that was involved in this horrific accident. I'd like to say rest in peace and condolences to the family and to everyone involved. Our heart goes out to you.
Mm-hmm. Also to the other members that were in the helicopter.
So
to their families.
Yes.
Really tragic what happened, and I wouldn't wish that on any family, honestly.
Right. And Kobe, it happened to be actually one of my favorite basketball players. I had probably in the top 5 of players that I've liked of all time. So this is really messed up that happened. But
it's difficult knowing like the world exists now without Kobe, because he was always a constant in basketball. It was always, even while he was playing. To me, his retirement was even hard for me because this guy was just a legend. Like seeing him play every night. I wish I seen him play in person, but just seeing him play day in and day out was just he's just an amazing basketball player. So rest in peace, Kobe.
Yeah, rest in peace. And now we're gonna get into the video of Power, episode 14. This episode seems to be more about Tate. Tate and his struggles with the whole situation he had with James St. Patrick. Basically, the whole thing of him being removed from the being a Democratic candidate as his race for governor, how that kind of tarnished his ability to continue to, run for governor, and how that affects him personally was what was interesting about the episode. The episode to me was okay at best. It wasn't like one of the better ones. I probably prefer the episode It's All Your Fault, but with Tommy even more, better than probably all 4 of what we just saw already and collectively. So it was an okay episode. I mean, we got to dive into more of Tate, Rashad Tate's life, his family, his brother was also in this episode as well. That was pretty good to see them acting together, and and within this episode, we got to see Cedric the Entertainer and what he was doing. He turns out he was one of the shooters that was shooting at Tommy and Ghost by that warehouse.
It ends up that Tate actually hired him. He tried to unhire him, but they were kind of psycho. For me, overall, this episode I don't have really much feeling on, because Tate, he's a good character, don't get me wrong, but he's not really a character I think I care for, or I would say even a lot of people didn't really care for that much. He's just kind of a guy there that, like I said, he always had good punchlines, some good scenes, that he always had scenes where you end up laughing or he ends up doing some shady shit. But overall, this episode to me just feels like a filler episode. I don't think we needed it. I think we could have been fine without this episode. I don't think it does progress the story a bit, not that much. We still don't really get any more clues to who killed Ghost. So that's why I'm like, this episode doesn't really do that much for me at all. We just see all about Tate, and if you like Tate, you'll like this episode, of course. If you're just kind of like lukewarm or just like whatever about him, this episode won't do anything for you.
And this episode does not really bring you any closer to who shot Ghost.
Yeah.
That's probably one of the more disappointing parts of it. It's like, this episode doesn't bring you there. I mean, we get to the scene and we see other reactions and different things about it, but you still not completely clear as to what took place.
Like I said, if you like Tate, you're gonna like this episode because Tate does things that Tate has done, shady stuff. But to me, overall, it doesn't really progress the story. We don't get to see anything more or less, or that's why I don't really have much to say about this episode because it's kind of like, okay, it's like a filler episode. It's not much. It's not really much you can really say. Do like his interactions with his brother. It seems like his brother knows him really well. He knows that he's does a lot of shady stuff and
shiesty.
Shiesty stuff. Like the interaction we had with his nephew, pretty cool. At the end, we get towards him actually being the Democratic nominee for governor. He somehow finagles that position from Loretta Walsh, whatever, the white chick.
Loretta
Since
Walsh.
Ghost died. And you remember that Democratic chairman dude, Really shady guy, but he also ends up siding with Tate and going against Loretta Walsh because it makes more sense. So, and I think they should have used that character a lot more in the previous
episodes,
episode because his character could have been a good potential. He had a lot of potential.
You know what? I agree. That guy, right? I felt like he had like a lot of good. I feel like he was good for that kind of role in the story.
Yeah.
That
he was good for that.
I felt like he could have popped in and out of a couple more episodes back before.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Before the last.
Because what he did with the ADA guy.
What he did to Warner.
Warner was pretty good. I think that was one of the best scenes in the previous 4 episodes. Overall, I don't have much to say. You have any other thoughts?
So this episode was, like I said, it was okay at best. We see Tate. He's drunk in the club, in the bar. He's mad and miserable for all of what happened to him with this old candidacy of being a Democratic governor, and he's not able to run. He wakes up the next day drunk in his brother's house, and they see the news, and what do you know? James St. Patrick is being announced
you
as
see that news in all these episodes.
Exactly. The next Democratic nominee ready to run with Loretta Walsh as being lieutenant governor. That motivates him to continue to try to do more to try to get himself back in the race. But he sits down with Loretta Walsh, and that same guy that 40 Cal was talking about, as far as I don't really know exactly his role in the Democratic Party, but he seems to be somebody pretty substantial in that role. But of course, any convincing that Rashad Tate was trying to do didn't work. So he, of course, got mad and stormed off on them. And earlier in the episode, he did call Cedric the Entertainer and his son. I thought that scene was pretty funny. Cedric the Entertainer, he always brings some kind of humor, even when he was trying to be serious with the whole country music thing, and then they shot the guy in the back of the head, and all that stuff right there. Those are some elements I liked. That I enjoyed in the episode because of Cedric the Entertainer. Even when they finally came to New York and met him, and he tried to stop them and say, "Listen, I don't need you guys anymore. We're not gonna do the murder or whatever." And they're like, "Listen, you're gonna give us this body, or we're gonna end up coming after you."
You can tell they were kind of crazy.
So so I'm like, this father and sons are pretty Looney Tune right here.
They're a bit,
Of course they
they
go after a ghost while he's with Tommy in the warehouse, and that goes wrong for them. Cedric the Entertainer gets shot and killed, and his son is still alive, and he's calling Tate. Tate is acting like he doesn't know anything was going on, and hangs the phone up on the son, and then keeps on going with his regular day. He goes and visits Tasha, try to convince Tasha to help him to stop Ghost, because trying to convince Tasha that somehow Ghost is going to convince Tariq, or even snitch on Tariq for the murder of Raymond Jones and all this stuff like that, because of what Blanca and Sachs came and visited him and told him. So he was trying to convince her that that was what was happening, and he was already aware of the whole Terry Silver affair, and so on and so forth. But and then later on, we see him at home, taking out the trash, and then we see the entertainer's son rolling up on Tate with the gun, ready to to kill him, ready to slaughter his whole family, and then Tate's brother comes out and shoots the guy in the back, and now he has to explain himself to the rest of the family on what was happening, and they're not buying it. At least his brother is not.
And the police,
all that was going on, and we cut into a couple of scenes. Tate, goes back to his office a few times. Stern visited him with Loretta Walsh to try to get him to chill out, and so that way, and for Tate to endorse her, and he refused. Later on, we see him meet up with Dre and try to convince Dre, as we seen on the episode Still Dre, how he tried to talk to Dre to convince him to kill Ghost, and he has his identity of like $100,000 or something like that for him to get out of town.
We saw the
right. We seen all that, and then he goes back. He's with his brother. His brother taking him to the police department with the investigators over there. I don't know. I'm not sure if they're internal affairs or whatever, but they're there to ask more questions about what happened with that shooting that happened in the house of Tate's brother with Cedric the Entertainer's son. And of course, they stick into the story that he was just some random dude that just came to try to rob Tate or whatever the case may be. So in this episode, there's a couple of things that happened. Tate, it was really like a Tate-filled episode. It was like his episode, There's a couple of moments that seemed pretty good when he went to that diner, and then, all those people wanted to take pictures with him and wanted his autographs, kind of like further his motivations to trying to not give up on being a governor or whatever like that. We see the little girl that he was dealing with or whatever like that he was sliding off with, and, eventually we get to the scene of the truth where James St. Patrick was shot. Cops are all over there. News reporter spots Rashad Tate, and he speaks like he's speaking encouraging words of wisdom to the people because he's in front of a camera, speaking very highly of James St. Patrick and what the community needs to do to stand together and fight for New York and things of that nature. And eventually, we said earlier, he winds up getting a chance to get back a part of the Democratic party. Loretta Walsh tried to get Tate to be her lieutenant governor and Tate checked her by saying that it's gonna look bad on you trying to get somebody who is dead, it could be something that could make you lose the
drug related,
right, and all that. So he convinced the other guy who was with Loretta that he should be the one running for governor and take her off the ticket. And the guy agreed, and of course she got mad and stormed off and whatever like that because she lost that. A couple of things. Tate also tried to slander Ramona's name by saying that she was having an affair with Ghost and all kind of things like that, trying to destroy her credibility there, so she could never be involved in politics or anything like that again because of him slandering her name and actually putting it out there to the people that she is having an affair with James St. Patrick when he was alive. So he did that. And he made a big speech in the church that they had. I think it was Raina's funeral, and
same church.
Yeah, same church. He had a big speech there to motivate the people for and accepting the nomination to be New York's Democratic governor. He had his little Obama moment and stuff like that, and that's about it. It ends off with him watching the news and them saying that the shooter of James St. Patrick has been revealed, and then it cuts off.
And during that scene, they show him smashing on that chick again.
Yeah, Ramona comes.
He ends up slaying Ramona and I forgot the girl's name. You know, the girl that was married with one of his staffers.
Right.
But yeah, like I said,
and that's really what happened. This episode wasn't like really extraordinary. If anything, I got annoyed with it to some degree because I felt like, listen, man, you know, we're here to watch what happened to Ghost. You know, yes, that took 5 episodes, and you're trying to bring us a little bit closer to this. And right now,
this episode doesn't really do anything.
If anything, you're taking us away from this. So I didn't really care that much for it. There was people that were mad with the episode with Paz. And I actually felt okay with that because I felt like, you know, Paz is a supporting character, and she was a character that I would watch a whole episode on. They still made her episode more interesting because it was more involving the actual incidents that took place. And the main thing
with that, it was actually more emotional. Like, you could see that she had like a legit interest and animosity and emotional connection to Angela, Ghost, and all of that. So her episode made a lot more sense than this Tate one. This Tate one, I just feel like this was more fan service. So,
so that's really how that episode was. I mean, that's what we think of it. It was okay at best. It wasn't a really whack episode, but it wasn't to me like a really great one either. So I mean, I don't know what you guys may think. You can comment below. Let us know your thoughts. Maybe you guys feel different. What do you think about the episode 14? Was it good? Was it bad? Did you guys enjoy it? What do you guys think? Once again, who do you guys think killed Ghost? Who killed James St. Patrick? We have yet to see that. We have one more episode to go, and we still got 3 more suspects? Is it Sax? Is it Tariq? And
Tariq, and Tasha.
And Tasha.
And those would be the 3.
Right. So we're gonna have to see. Now, before we end this video off, I will say that, you know, me and 40 Cal, we did see the leaked episode of episode 15. I'm not going to comment on that right now. I'm not going to say whether it was good or bad or whether we enjoyed it or what took place in it. Because who knows, it may even change. I kind of doubt it will change any, drastically.
Significant way.
You know what I'm saying? But we did see what we saw, and we're going to wait till Sunday and see what happens, and we'll be right here again doing the final review for Power. And you got anything else?
Nothing else.
Also, guys, that'll be all. We got your boy Dub G.
Here we go.
You're watching Dub G TV. See you next time.